In reality, only a select few individuals hold the power of influence. Not a pounce over a luxury item never to be owned, but real influence over police, governments, and even clandestine fraternities. My true story is so controversial that I invite you to comment and even question my integrity. Episode 3, the Cali. Now, what a question to ask someone, and I hope I'd given her the right answer. It was just before 2 o'clock, and the slight glimpse of daylight was still peering through the curtains. I can hear the giggling from the boys outside. It just was a bizarre scenario when usually these things are done at night, when full middle of the day lunch, for example, strippers lunch. So with that, and no security, no assistance, no one else behind the bar, just me on my own, I knew it was going to be a long shift. I served about a dozen drinks to 3 groups of people before Paola and Elena returned. They handed me their CD bag and asked what I would like them to dance to. Elena was stroking my forearm and I tried to open the CDs. I was really just passing the sleeves of CDs, and then I saw one Tupac and I thought, how appropriate. So I put on the song California Love by Tupac, featuring Dr. Dre. And the girls jumped up on the stage and repeated their work with differing choreography. Sometimes they'd dance alone, then strip fully naked, then on other times they would dance together, perform together. And between each performance, the glasses would be filled with coins and notes, and then they'd call me over to cash in their coins. The men in the room were drinking, they're relaxing, they're having fun, and doing what red-blooded men do, calling their mates, getting them in, get down to the Cali. They're on their mobile phones and making excuses with their wives and partners for being stuck in traffic, and then running outside the pub so that they could hear the noises of the lorries and the background noises to validate their reasons to stay that afternoon in the Cali, or the Hotel California, as some put it. These girls did well and earned between 400 and 600 quid a day for that afternoon, and the word was soon out that this was the place to make money for the girls, and where the sexiest girls would dance for the boys. They would come in and ask, or almost beg, for me to put them on the list of dancers to come back. Now, I had no idea what the list of dancers was, and after they left, I found a line pad and placed their names and then tried to score them as to how I thought they'd done that day. Although anyone that had been there that day would give them a 11 out of 10. But I had to be a little stricter on that. So, even though these were really good, they were the first, so I gave them an 8. I'd continued to clean the bar and sometimes forgot to eat, and continued to decorate the back bar, the wooden beams and the white walls. Then just before the communal shower, as I put it, which was basically a communal shower, one big wet room next to where my room was at the back of the building. A jumbo jet would rarely stop me from sleeping, and I'd also wake to the sound of my parents turning up with tea and bacon sandwiches, which I would devour. They would update me on my brothers, give me any advancements in their case, which were few and far between. And every day I saw them, they looked more and more disheartened, which wasn't helped when the police sent my brothers to HMP Norwich. Deliberate, because it was an extra 3 hours trip for my parents each way. Police knew that my brothers were getting constant support, and their morale was up, even though Brian's was shattered by the actions of their solicitors. By moving them so far away, it made it an extra chore for my parents to drive, but they didn't moan, they didn't complain, they just cracked on every day. 3.5 hours there, a visit, 3.5 hours home. Just before they left that day, my mum handed me a cover of Loaded magazine. So I turned over the inside front cover and there was a male model wearing a suit and black shoes. Paul wondered if we could buy these for him, she said. We know they look expensive and I know money's tight, but he loves his shoes, you know that, and he said he'd look a little G when referring to his murder trial. Now, I know that that's not something Paul would usually say, as whilst he loved his designer clothes, he wouldn't have joked about something so serious. Is he all right? I asked. They both looked at each other and then my mum blurted, tears and emotions flooding out. Paul Harris has called me and told me that he'd been separated and moved to a hospital wing for review. They've refused him his medication again and he's not reacting too well to it. The fact that immediately after my mum reminded me of the irregularities in the blood and urine samples after speaking with Paul Harris, it was all giving me a great concern. Or it was giving all of us concern. It angered me, and yet this was not the time for revenge. And where was I going to find it? We had to roll along with this. Paul Harris, the controller. Why was he doing it? What deal had he done? The other strange thing is that Paul Harris asked my brother's GP to give him their original medical notes, not a photocopy, the originals. Now, you don't have to go through criminal law and criminal experiences to understand that the reason they were doing that is to hide something. Why else would you ask for the originals? The stranger thing after that was the GP surgery gave them to him and didn't take a copy themselves. So one way or another, something was being lost. It was either they were trying to remove my brother's history of a breakdown and replace it with a more serious paranoid schizophrenia, or something else. There was this certain issue and concentration on their medical history and the inconsistencies, let's call them that at the moment, with the taking and sampling and labelling of their intimate samples, blood and urine. The thing is that the medical records ultimately would show that it was Paul who was being administered recycling, and therefore, when the test results came back for Bert showing he had recycling, they had nowhere to go. It would have been convincing that these samples had been either taken incorrectly or swapped. Either way, unreliable. And as the defence was reliant on the drugs and stuff, you can see where it was all going. Well, I'll finish that ... later. I took my parents for some G-up and showed them the back bar, which I hoped would give them some encouragement and out of the bubble into some reality, or my reality anyway. With that, a couple of ex-dockers came in the pub and looked round smiling. "Oh, you've really tidied this up, mate. It looks like it used to years ago when we was in here." And they'd sat there and they'd tell me about the old days and the docks and this and that, and reminded me that I had a dock licence, so I could open the pub at 9 o'clock in the morning and shut it at 12 o'clock at night, which I didn't fancy opening at 9 o'clock in the morning because no one really turned up other than 2 o'clock anyway. Again, the curtains were closed and the new punters excited in my Groundhog Day, some returning from the previous day along with their workmates, after hearing of the Brazilian show as it was then named. 2 new dancers arrived, with a message from Melvin at the Rainbow Sports Bar in Shoreditch. "I've heard that Paola and Elena did well," he said, "so we won't be charging you any fees for sending our girls over to you. Or any of our girls at your place." Their fees were about 50 quid a day. And, that might sound insignificant for what they may have pulled in, but it had obviously been fed back that they were earning well, and therefore he waived the fees for us. Probably took it off of them, but there you go. I looked at these 2 turning up and told them both to leave because I'm sure I saw the back of the head of one of them when I first turned up to repair the stage, and the other looked like she was a few seconds away from a needle. So they went, and it just gave me a chance to stock up, polish the bar a bit, take stock of where I was and what I needed to do. And although disappointed, the punters didn't want to pay any money for these 2 characters to dance. As I was standing, the phone rang in the pub. I had a phone on the wall, public phone. As I answered, I heard, "Hello, can I speak to Darren?" I said, "Yes, right, I'm here." "Oh, is Wayne there?" I said, No, he's not here anymore." "What do you mean he's not here anymore?" "He's running another pub." "Oh, no problem, mate. Well, be in a minute, sorry." Well, what do you mean, be in a minute? So as soon as I put the phone back on the receiver, the door came open. It was a uniformed copper, and a bloke in a suit walked in. So they come up to the bar. They turned around, and a few people were in there. I said, "Right, everyone, leave your drinks on the bar. Go home, we're shutting you down." So I said, "What do you mean shutting me down?" I said, "Turn off the machines, tell the girls to go. That's it, you're closed down." I said, "Why?" He said, "Well, where's your licence?" I said, and I knew I didn't have a fucking licence. I was working off of Wayne's licence. So I said, "I'm using Wayne's licence." "Yeah, but Wayne's running the pub in Puddings in Stratford. You can't be running 2 pubs from the same fucking licence." So I shut the door, turned everything off. I said, "Come out the back." We sat there and I called Tommy up. I said, "Look, Tom, this is happening. Any chance of having a chat with these people?" Within a little while, he turned up, went out the back, and he said, "Right." He said, "What's all this fucking going on here?" So I sat there and thought, hang on a minute. He said, "That's the way it's sorted out." So he went on, the copper turned around, and this is whatever his name was, and the guy next to him in the suit, he's the gaming guy, or the licence guy. He said, "And your manager doesn't have a licence." So he said, "What do you fucking mean you don't have a licence? We're going to straighten this all out." And the copper said, "Well, look, the licence is going to take you about 6 weeks to get, and it's about $6,000 for everything you want with the gaming and the girls." And Tommy turned around, I'm sitting there watching, he said, "Oh, you cheeky cunt." He said, "You and your pals from Plastone Nick and others at Woolwich have been fucking having it with these girls at my boozers. Not only this one, but the fucking Standard up the road." And I could see the copper fucking cringing. "I'll tell you what," he said, "I'll pay you characters 1,800 quid a day, and that's it, or you can go fuck yourself." Now I thought, this is funny, isn't it? I got Essex police convicting me brothers for murder, whilst under very suspicious circumstances. And here I am sitting in a pub without a licence, and I've got 2 coppers being bribed to give me a fucking licence. Okay, I'll accept your offer this moment as an act of goodwill, and I'll present your licence to the court myself tomorrow morning. Other than that, and the cheque, you are closed until further notice. With that, they fucked off, and Tom remained. He asked me how things were going. I hadn't seen him since I opened it. As he walked round, he mentioned the local area and how it was hearing about the Cali was coming back with its old ways and its fun and frolics and the girls and all that. He was getting excited. He then went on to tell me some stories about him and my old man back in the day, and I could sense that they had a great bond. We walked round a pub and he was very impressed with the decoration. He thanked me and offered to pay for the paint. I said, no, I'll do it. And then we went round to the back bar. Now, the back bar was a bar in between the main bar on the ground floor at the front, and then up a few steps was the main bar at the back of the back bar. But in between them at the back was this tiny little bar that was accessible up a few steps from the inside behind the bar. I hope that makes sense. And he could see it, and I'd cleaned it, or Ted had cleaned it right up. We polished it within an inch of its life, and it was immaculate. So he said to me, you won't remember this place. He said, Dad will. He said, the old days. But, we used to sit here in this little private bar with the local boys, he said, meeting from the local areas and Canning Town and Custom House, he said, and we'd have a little chat about things in privacy. He said, we'd have our pals up the road. He said, no one put a fucking little dinger in here. He said, we were fucking sweet. He said, this place was an exclusive community for villains, police and the rich. We all fucking had it together. So I said to him, look, Tom, whilst I was a bit fucking shocked to be taking this place on, now I'm here and getting in the mood. I thank you for giving me this opportunity. He said, I'm able to look after my family. And he said, don't worry about it. So he said, fucking all your family looked after me for years. He said, don't worry about that. He said, we look after each other in this area. You know that. I said, no, but nevertheless, Tom, I'm fucking grateful for it. So I said, look, would you like the private bar up and running again? He went, oh, blimey. He pulled a seat up, bar stop, actually, and then put it at the little private bar. He said, we haven't been up this bar for 20 years. He said, you'd probably even get the Wop down here from the Standard. Peter Wop was his manager at the Standard. He said, I'd love this bar open again. And if you can find a way, I'll tell you what, I'll bring all the fucking boys from Canning Town and everywhere to this place. He said, if you can do a Sunday lunch, he said, this fucking place will be packed. So anyway, I walked Tommy to his car and he parked on the forecourt. He had a navy blue Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow, and it looked as good as it sounds, or I suppose not sounds, as fucking it glided off with no noise almost. It had been an eventful morning. I had an empty bar and pulled the pad from behind the till and placed another number out of 10 against these 2 girls, which amounted to 0. As I went to put the pad back and get on with the decorating, I saw the Loaded magazine picture and I just didn't know where to fucking go to get these boots. So I looked on the back and thought, what am I going to do? Anyway, I remembered that John, Bridget's B's brother, he'd know. He was like a connected guy. He was one of the people running the Soccer Six. It was all that little clique, bloated and all that fucking lot. So I thought, I'm going to go and see him. Although we weren't on amicable terms, obviously his little sister was a bit upset when we split up. I thought, I was upset when we split up. She's a lovely girl. But nevertheless, he was a bit fucked off with it. Didn't say nothing about it, but there you go. And I needed him to tell me where to get these shoes for my brother for his murder trial. So I thought, fuck it, he's my brother, it's fucking nothing I wouldn't do for him. I'm going to go and knock on John's door and see what happens. So I cleaned the bar, washed up, hoovered what's left of the carpet, and then as I was about to shut the front doors up, fucking in come this fucking lump. Short hair, about 6 foot odd tall, 19 odd stone, fucking solid. Long overcoat, classic fucking gangster, fucking shuffled in. I've got him standing behind the bar. So he's gone to me, looking around the room, he went, Darren here, is he? So I said, who'd like to know? He's shuffling something under his coat. I couldn't see what it fucking was. It unnerved me. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. So I'm looking for Darren the barman. Are you him? I said, yeah, I'm Darren, and I manage this place now Wayne's left, which fortunately for me was the right reply, as that was the day that Darren the barman was going to get hit. What do you mean? What do you mean? Wayne's left? He's fucking shut, looking around the room, fucking thinking that he was being led into a fucking place where he was going to get fucking done. He thought he'd been fucking rumbled. So he's shuffling underneath his coat. He's fucking, next thing, the fucking end of this double-barrel gun's fucking popped out of the under. He said, Alan, get over here and have a chat. So he's backed into the corner, sat down at the thing so he can see all the fucking room and the exits. So anyway, I walked over there, sat down. So he's asking us questions about this and that. So he got a grips quickly that there was another Darren who looked similar to me, who'd worked behind the bar for Wayne. So needless to say, I felt very close to the end that day. Fortunately, we found a way through it. He said, look, you might not know this, but there's a bonded warehouse at the end of this road in Silvertown. My people have been looking at this place for 3 fucking years. We had people sit on the top deck of the fucking bus going past here, watching the patterns as the pallets and being stacked and restacked against the fence as a means to escape. One of our people felt the need to take the last bus before the fucking job was about to get underway and noticed that all the fucking pallets had gone, all the cars had been removed and the same had fucking changed. It had been the same for 3 fucking years. And there's now a fucking debt owing for this one because someone's talked out of turn. I'm looking for Darren the barman and it appears that you only arrived recently, so it can't be you. If things change, then you'll only see a glimpse of me next time and then otherwise the fucking lights are going out. Anyway, I thought, well, I might as well have a shower now. Sweating for a fucking half hour and get rid of the barman stench and, freshen the mood. No better than a splash of Gaultier for men and then in a cab and off to Bow Quarter, which was the old Bryant match factory, to visit John at his apartment. Anyway, I didn't know if he was still there and I went to the concierge and asked him to give him a buzz. Fortunately, he answered and fortunately he let me through and into the estate. As John opened the front door, he was a bit uptight, but, gave me a hug from his left arm as he'd lost the use of his right arm in a motorcycle accident many years before I even met him. He sat down and asked me to take a seat while smoking something he'd rolled. So, mate, he said, what brings you here? How long's it been, 5, 10 years? I said, look, far too long, mate, I said, and I need some help finding an item of interest for Paul. Oh, fuck me, I heard about the boys, mate. I'm sorry. So sorry. Paul's proper, as gentle as they come. Bridget loved him. So if I can do anything for either of them, just say the word and it's done. You, on the other hand, you get fuck all. My little sister's broken heart still on the mend. He's half joking. You must be psychic. Bee's staying here with me at the moment while she's working at Les Ambassadors Casino. Oh, all right, I said, do say hello for me when you see her next. Thinking she was fucking working. Oh, no problem. You can tell her yourself. She's in the kitchen making you a drink. Why, I've got no fucking idea. But she's as soft as shit like that. I, on the other hand, am not. He was asserting his big brother position and had a right to allow him a fucking few jokes, obviously. John was protecting his little sister and I respected that. He wouldn't have spoken to me like that in any other circumstances, but I had to soak it up and take it on the chin. I handed John the folded magazine cover and explained the request. It's done. Don't worry about that. I'll speak to Steve Reed and he'll tell me where to get them and I'll go and buy them. No, I fucking about to speak and I couldn't get the words out. I was choked up, fucking holding back the tears. It was just another reminder of how my family was felt about and thought about, and John was showing me some emotion, which was reciprocated. So I appreciated John, I said, but it's a present I've got to purchase and deliver. I'll just go and say hello to B and come back and chat about things that may be of interest to you. As I entered the kitchen, B was obviously aware of my arrival after a quick buzz at the door, and her perfume filled the air. Although it was such a short time to dress and impress, she did. It was yet another emotional pull during a cataclysm of emotional scenarios, and I'd arrived without experiencing the issues of the day. Who knows what treatment I'd have found. B was as ever sympathetic and supportive. Had I said hello to her in any situation, at a restaurant or on the pavement, we would have still had a hug, as the Whartons are huggers, whilst my family, not so much. I held B as if it were yesterday, taking the comfort offered, which was reciprocated. We parted as she handed me a mojito, having carefully prepared it for me, knowing that it was one of my favourite drinks outside of Jack Daniels, tequila and champagne. Well, not all at the same time, of course, even though I've tried. We gave some standard conversation, the usual updates, and carefully avoided any reconstructive elements or relationship comments or anything that would otherwise avert the peace. I asked her if we could revisit the living room so I could update both of them. Anyway, we sat and I talked to them and told them all what was going on. They gave me a hug and I swapped numbers with them both and invited them to the Cali. Just made them both smile. The rain poured that evening and my cab ride back was full of the thoughts of regret and how things might have been different, not only with B but on various occasions. As I arrived, the dark, rainy night etched itself into the building, the Cali, as if it was something from Greystoke. Shadows were appearing where I hadn't noticed them any previously, and I'd have to find my way back to bed and endure another Groundhog Day. The following morning, I was woken by my dad, shaking me to get up. I thought that something had happened, jumped out of bed. Come on, you're on a visitor date, see the boys, get ready. We've got to leave soon, we can't be late. What a relief, I thought. Seeing my brothers was everything I wanted to do and could ask for no more. We drove back along South Road in South Ockenden and then the gruelling 3-hour plus trip to HMP Norwich. It was whilst experiencing that trip that I understood the level of support and commitment my parents were undergoing just to pass on morale to my brothers every day. They didn't complain once. As we passed the village inn, I noticed that there had been some changes. Not only to the road markings, but there was a mini roundabout put in at the junction with South Road and Tamrisk Road. This seemed to slow the traffic. It felt as if this was intended to avoid any reference to a vehicle being able to travel at speed before approaching the pub. I then noticed that the front surface of the pub had all been ripped up and replaced, and therefore any forensics had gone. Stranger than these was a double take when seeing the bus stop had been uprooted and moved 80 feet down the road. The scene of crime had now changed its complexion, but this was no coincidence. Upon arrival at prison, we'd sign in, find a locker to leave our belongings, and then take through some coins to purchase from the canteen or the machine. We'd then sit and wait for my brothers to be brought to the visit. As the door opened, I could see Bert, but not Paul. Bert sat immediately out and explained that due to Paul being taken off his medication, he was left feeling a little anxious and paranoid and wanted to stay in his cell after returning from the hospital wing. It was as bad to see Paul as to receive more bad news. Bert held the higher bar, although the younger brother, and explained more about the case. Unfortunately for Bert, he was dyslexic, so trying to work himself through a bundle of legal papers was not only frustrating or confusing, it was life-changing. However, he took the time in prison to learn to read, as his life now depended on it. As these case papers would formulate questions for his legal team to answer, with a trial pending only a couple of months away and Paul's mental state diminishing, his legal team were not being as helpful as they should have been. Bert told us of some of his experiences in jail, and it was not too dissimilar to a bad school, and he'd experienced these. We left and returned to the Cali, where we enjoyed some fish and chips before Mum and Dad returned to the family home in Ockenden. Now you imagine, they've had all that go on, and they're living in the house where they'd watched their sons grow up, walking into their bedrooms, seeing their clothes, seeing their belongings exactly where they left them before they were carted off to jail. They were living that every day, visits every day, coming to see me, collecting some money, telling me what was going on, reliving the updates. Oh, just hold there for a second. I'd finished the pub. I'd finished decorating the pub, and I received a message from John, as he'd found the shoe manufacturer. These shoes were by Oliver Sweeney, and once with this and where to purchase them, I brought the exact pair and sent them to Paul, who was elated and picked him up. He asked me to thank John and B, which seemed to pull him round for a while. He was very fond of them all, including John and Bridget's sister Beth and her partner Jeff. I got up the following morning and opened every window in the place to get rid of the odour of the fresh paint and the floor sealant. And once unlocking the doors, I was met with an old friend of my father's named Peter. Now Peter is best described as looking and either emulating Alf Garnett, till death do us part. Aside from his staunch West Ham supporter and other proper East End traits, Peter is not a person to fall out, as he had a side to him that had seen many credible and vicious gangsters running from their lives. Peter had a huge heart and a much darker side, and yet he'd taken time to visit me and pay his respects to my brother's situation. Cali was his local, and as we had taken management of it, this was his perfect scenario. "I've heard about your brother's business, and I'm sad to hear their circumstances," he said. "I've come here to offer my respects and also offer you help in dealing with those cuntish little grasses that are trying to put them away. You just say the word, mate, and trust me, they'll all fucking disappear. Anyway, we can't wait for the pub to open, and I'll give you a game of pool and buy you some beers. See you soon. Say hello to your dad with me." And he left. The following morning, and with parental greeting, updates and breakfast complete, I received a phone call giving the all clear to reopen the pub. It wasn't long, but it felt like an age during some interesting scenarios. I invited John over, who was elsewhere, and I was surprised when B texted me asking if she could come and visit. Now look, B is a master of hospitality. She has the personality, the looks, the management skills, she's experienced, and they're all perfectly aligned. The reason they're perfectly aligned is because hospitality is their family business. And whilst her father was an ex-boxer, Geordie, and chef, they'd run many hotels and bars and all sorts of things. It was in their blood. She taught me the little I knew whilst dating her in her pub in Sussex, the Blackadder. And after leaving there to come back to London, she moved in with me to my council flat in Essex, which her brother and family didn't really appreciate because, you know, they had hoped for better things for her, better suitors, let's say. The relationship ended, and not because of that, but natural causes and eventually a few broken hearts. I agreed with B and welcomed her to Cali. So I gave her a personal tour and she wandered around the back bar, and I invited her to stay and enjoy it. Now, I only had one barmaid at that time, was known as a local face and trusted around the area. She was known and everyone liked her. Middle-aged woman, an East End face. And she was able to manage the place properly. My plan was to get her to sit up at the private bar and just serve everyone up there on the weekends. She was perfect for it. And B, she looked a little bit jealous. I mean, it's something that, I know the circumstances with strippers and all the rest of it weren't quite their thing. She was working running the bar in Les Ambassadors, right? So the difference between that and the Cali is fucking as wide as it could be. But nevertheless, she loved the challenge and she fancied it, I think. So she gave me the usual wind-ups, oh, you dated any exotic dancers, Darren? And after a few batterings of those sort of things, which I thoroughly enjoyed, I called her a cab, but offered her an open invitation to return. Things were getting better in the club, and, the cleanliness and the quality of the girls and the demeanour, and I don't know, it's funny, when you're in a shit situation, you're almost like a pig in shit, you're just fucking there, churning it out every day, just concentrating on the basics, you know what I mean, just fucking going through the motions, doing what you got to do. And I was able to, up the ante, send my brothers 50 cigars a week and as much money as they could have in their canteen, because, if you're on remand, you can have more money than if you're convicted on your canteen, so they could buy more. And, it's no secret, if it is not now, that, I may have danced or dated, I don't know which way around that is, with some of the girls and taken them out to dinner and had some fun and tried to live as normal as I possibly could. Anyway, one of them in particular, Max, Canadian dancer, came in and she said, look, you haven't got a pole in here. I'm a pole dancer. So I went down to the local boatyard at Galleon's Marina and bumped into a couple of characters there and bought a stainless steel pole that was going to be turned into a handrail for a yacht. Got it back, cut it up, stuck it on top of the stage, and she was fucking flying. You know what I mean? It was surprising to see what she could do on this pole. She was whipping around it, going up to the ceiling, almost planting a crutch on the ceiling when she fucking holding her behind her backside. You know what I mean? She was bang on it. The other thing she was bang on it for was that she would often bring her clients in. So one of them was a guy came in, bald hair, tall guy, Camel Mac, sat in the corner, orange juice. So I called her, I said, who's that guy there? So she jumped up on the bar, sat on there cross-legged, and was telling me he was a judge. She said, he's a judge, top court, high court judge. And he comes around my flat and I wears a diaper, and I get him to clean my kitchen floor with a toothbrush. She said, and he goes around his hands and knees in his fucking nappy, cleaning round the plinth for me fucking kitchen. She said, and that's interesting to him. She said, but the bit he loves more, and she said, when I reprimand him when he misses a bit, so I give him a load of stick, he fucking loves it. Again, thinking, fucking hell, brothers are about to face the law, and this cunt's fucking facing the floor. Anyway, there's no laughter, those things, just an air of bizarre fucking situation. And a little anger. Because, this might be the fucking guy that my brothers face. And I'm going to be sitting there looking at him, thinking of him in a fucking nappy, cleaning the kitchen floor with a fucking toothbrush. To add to that, I've got the old bill fucking playing up, and all the rest of it I've mentioned. And again, this is just fucking tip of the iceberg. They haven't started it. And not to take anything away from what I'm seeing, but you couldn't cope if I dropped you in at fucking chapter 7. You wouldn't. You fucking think I was lying. You think I made it all up. You probably think I'm making this up. But I'd said it's a true story. And I've named a few people. And I'm very happy to face them and back it. I learned a lot from these strippers, exotic dancers, dancing girls, whatever you want to call them. Women. Not least, I took some time to listen to them. We sat down, we had a chat every now and then between dances or after or whatever. And I learned that, some people might think of them as, pieces of meat or, there for their entertainment only. They had their reasons, whether it be, education, study, or drugs, or childcare, or a debt, or something. There was a reason. And for some of them, most of them actually, to stand in front of a group of men, completely naked, was said to empower them. They felt empowered being completely fucking stark naked, not being watched by a load of men. That was their way. There it is. But after a while, our days with the dancers were Monday to Saturday. Busiest, obviously, Thursday and up to Saturday. Less busy when West Ham were away because, there were less people in the pub on a Saturday there. Other than that, busy. So what we did, we implemented karaoke on a Sunday. I'd always open a bit later, about 12 o'clock midday, and then introduced the karaoke about 6 o'clock at night. And then what would happen was a lot of the local women who wouldn't usually come in, very few women actually come in the pub, but the local women that would never come in the pub, knowing that their partners were definitely in there, that was their opportunity to come in and fucking have a bit of fun. So what they'd do, they'd come in, they'd have a bit of karaoke, we'd have some food after the Sunday lunch, and then they would get a little bit merry, and then later in the afternoon they would get on the pole and start playing around, which I think in a lot of cases rekindled some of the kind of, affection in their marriages or partnerships and all the rest of it. You know what I mean? And they loved it. It wasn't always busy, and to get the crowd going or leaving, whichever it was, I thought to get up and sing myself, and found that I knew one song which had bizarre meaning, I guess, when you look at it, or scenario, and that was Lucky Man by The Verve. So, karaoke, everyone sort of sitting back, as much as we were egging them on to get on and plying them with booze, I would get up, sing that song, and then give everyone a G up, and it kind of got people in the mood. Anyway, as the pub went on and the trial getting ever closer, I had a barman, or a guy local wanted to be a barman, called Wally, Glaswegian, and he worked for a tarmacking firm. So he came in and said, look, my boss wants to hold a Christmas party in here, but every time they have a Christmas party, they have a fucking major tear up and smash the place up. So I said, well, obviously that's not happening here, but I'll welcome your party because I need to earn some money. I didn't tell him that, obviously, but I need to earn some money, so I'll take anything on. But, I want a deposit up front for anything he tries to smash up. He said, oh, well, that sounds fair. The next thing, the director come in, had a chat, showed him round, and he signed up, paid the money, and we were on. But the thing is, the locals heard about this, certainly the local women. They were having none of it. He said, hang on a minute. You do the dancing girls of the day and we keep away and all the rest of it, not because you tell us to, but because we don't want to be in here. But now we've been in here, we want to have our own bit of fun. So you've got a club upstairs. We want you to put on an event for us with male strippers. So how many you think, well, hang on, one of them's turned around, I pulled out a list. She said, there'll be 160 of us. Get 160 of you. All right, I'll do it. Really? I said, yeah, fucking do it. So I turned around to Max, the stripper, the Canadian girl, and said, look, I've got to host this strippers night for the women. I said, what do I need to do? I said, I know how to do it for the men. I said, what do I do with the women? She said, well, it's much the same. She said, just get men. She said, but you're going to want to compare. She said, you don't know who to compare down here. She said, but women will want someone to compare, ideally. I said, all right, do you know anyone? She said, yeah, go and see Melvin at a sports bar. He's got loads up here. He said, I'll tell you who two are good. She said, he got these two trans compares called Bunny and Tiffany. I said, just the name's fucking comical enough. I said, they sound like all right, correct. And she gave me a funny look. I said, so I'll give him a call, so I'm getting him anyway. The short is, Bunny and Tiffany are booked. The girls are up. But in the meantime, the two characters from the boatyard who I got the pole off kept coming in at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, loved the girls, had a sandwich, watched the book and all the rest of it, got involved, got G'd up. So I put a find the lady competition on the wall. So I pack the cards, turn them round, pay £1, you pick the lady. And the winning prize was to be one of the waiters for the hen night. Well, I called it hen night, it was the best way to say it. Anyway, these two characters were there in every day playing this game, right? And fortunately for me, they were picking the last of the lady, right? So all going through all the pack nearly to find her. And they were elated when they found her. Not least, they went out and they bought themselves some black trousers, a white shirt, a dicky bow tie, and they even had some basic business cards made up with their name and their phone number on it. You could tell they're up for fucking meeting some people at this event. Anyway, now the event. Downstairs, a few of the men are coming in, getting some drinks. I've got not only my barmaids in there, I've got a couple of her friends looking after things downstairs. And they did that with ease. Had everyone eating out the palm of their hand. They weren't having no shit in there. Upstairs, tables out. I bought a load of bottles of wine from the WAP. And Wally was helping me behind a little bar in the club next to my room. John and Steve Reed come down from Loaded. They was in my room. And the girls were getting changed in here because I had nowhere else for them to go. Anyway, so the party's on. I've got the whole pub now banging. And in came Bunny and Tiffany. And I remember seeing them come in. And yeah, they come in. They're very, they were being themselves. But they're, effeminate, you know, and they were coming across a little bit larger than life. Great, I thought. Anyway, so I said, right, come in, you two come upstairs. So I'll show you another room I've got just for you two, where you can get changed and do your thing. So right opposite the entrance door to the club. So it's just down the hallway, that's where the bar is, and just down the other end of the hallway, that's where my room is, and that's where the girls are. I said, and at the end, that's the communal shower. I said, I don't think you've been eating it, but there it is. So as we're getting ready, the waiters come in, the 2-carat, boaties, I'll call them, right? And they're fucking shimmering around, you know, so gliding in between the tables, pouring drinks for women, being all very helpful. And their fucking drinks are disappearing. These women are at it. There's fucking 160 women. It's a fucking formidable sight when they're revving up, right? And me and Wally behind this little bar, and we can hear them fucking getting lively. They've done all the bottles of wine, each of them. Now they're on the spirits. Vodka Red Bulls, vodka orange, rum and coke. Fucking, they're flying. These waiters are flying through the thing. They weren't expecting. They thought they were just going to have a little easy number wandering around. Next thing you can hear, no, leave me alone. And they're fucking getting touched up and groped, and fucking the bow ties are off, and the women are getting fucking lively. Men downstairs, they're whistling a few chat claps, a few cheers, a few wolf whistles. Yeah, yeah. Women fucking at it, ripping these two boaties apart, fucking grabbing their asses. They were coming up to the bar, just fucking all over the place. They were fucking, their clothes were getting pulled apart, not ripped, but pulled apart. Anyway, I had a message come up, the male strippers are here. Great. So they're turned up, they've got these gladiator boots on and just a cape. There's 10 of them, one a table, right? So I go into Bunny and Tiffany and I say, as I walked in, I just burst through the door. Next thing, one of them pulled a towel up to his chest, her chest, and went, oh, I said, hang on a minute, mate. I said, fucking, I'm watching strippers all day long. I said, I'm fucking not worried about your little dids, am I? And the other one was laughing. So full head of hair, full makeup, put the dress on, proper fake boobs and all that. So anyway, next thing I've come back, I said, well, give us a fucking tray of shots. So I'm going back in there. So I went in there and I fucking got them to drink about 8 shots, and they were fucking loaded, right? So next I said, right, come out, and had their sort of their walkie-talkie mic with their speakers in the club linked up to the system and all that. By now the women are fucking going crazy. And they're banging on the table going, we want cock, we want cock. And I thought, fucking hell. I said, these fucking, what's going to happen here? I was more worried about the women upstairs than the fucking place getting smashed up downstairs. So with that, the fucking club door swung around, bunnies walked in. Hello, bitches, fucking blah, 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 blah. Men, the little fucking wankers, and they're all cheering, yeah, men are fucking cunts, blah. Fucking geeing them all up. Fucking the strippers are standing looking at each other. They're off to heavens after for a fucking night out, so they're just looking at each other going, fucking, what's going on? So then Tiffany walked in. I said, oh, where's the bitch? Come in. Look, you fucking bitch. No, you're late again. No. I put her tits on round the side. They're coming out the side of her chest, rolling them straight on. She's paralytic drunk. Birds are chanting, we want cock. So fuck, I've got to let the men in. So in come the strippers one by one. They go to each of the table. And the first table on the right, this middle-aged woman has just fucking grabbed one of them and pulled his cape right round his head, right round her head. And all you can see is a bump going bump, 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 up and down around his midriff, right? Fucking hell, all the women on the table, come on, come up for here, come on, give us a go. And the daughter on the table is fucking disgusted, right? So much so. Like, she's got up and walked across the dance floor and going to go out the side entrance. So I ran over to her. I said, look, you're all right. She said, oh, Mum, she's fucking embarrassing. She'd never have done that. I said, all right, but like, she's having a good time. I said, I don't care, I'm leaving, I can't watch that. So I said, look, you don't do any bar work, do you? She said, yeah, I do a bit of bar. I used to work in here with wine. She said, but it's fucking terrible. It's disgusting in here. I said, you wouldn't mind working downstairs? She said, oh, no, I'll be barmaid. She said, oh, no, I'm all. I said, well, look, can you go downstairs and get cracking? So she went downstairs, and she looks like a page 3 bird. So she's just fucking, every man's just fucking running to her. Right, not at least the strippers are just unbelievably good. The best of them, you know what I mean? I go in my room and the strippers are in there, fucking Steve Reed's flashes going on his camera, fucking like a strobe. I thought that was the club. The place is fucking going. Anyway, next thing, get another message. Oh, everything's finished. The birds are finished downstairs and they're waiting for you to do a bit to have a drink with them. Maria, one of them, finished bird in a nurse's uniform. And a few others want to have a drink with you. So I thought, I've got to wind this up. How am I going to wind this up? It all fucking G'd right up. So all I did was invite the women downstairs to meet the men. That was it. Fucking everyone left, went on to a club, went on here, went on there. Fucking the place had a couple of drinks, cleared. A fucking proper night was had by all. And I had a little bit of money to keep things bubbling. my family. I won't say that Steve Reed and John left and I stayed there for a bit without the hustle and bustle and had a few drinks with the nurse. Anyway, the next day it was a Saturday. And as I say, West Ham were playing away from home, so there's not many people about. As I'm in the bar cleaning up, Raquel's there. That was the barmaid, pastry bird I mentioned. Or pastry looking bird I mentioned. And I'm standing at the bar, I'm looking around, I'm thinking, fucking hell, I said, this is not bad. You know, it's better than Carpentry. This is all right. I can do this. And with that, geezer ran in the front doors and shouted out, what I thought he shouted out was fire. Now I knew that a few locals were living opposite in the little terraced houses opposite. So I ran after him along Woolwich Manor Way onto the slipway of the River Thames. And when I went down on the slipway, I could see like 3 heads just sticking out of the mud. They're all about 5 metres apart. And the Thames, the river, was coming in fast. So I don't know why, but I just thought, fuck it. And I ran out and I was sticking in the mud and walking in the mud. Next thing I'm up to my knees and I'm fucking getting stuck in the mud. Before I know where I am pretty much stuck in the mud. So what I did was I sort of somehow unstuck myself and laid a lot across the mud like a mud skipper and fucking worked my way over to the first one. And as I did, I went, get on me back. And he fucking had mud everywhere. He just fucking put it all around my face and hair and eyes and got on me back. And I was going down the mud a little bit. So I got him into the shore and then I said, go and take him around to Cali and fucking get him in blankets and get him some crisps and Coke. I mean, obviously crisps and Coke fucking resolve anything with kids, don't they? So that's probably why I thought of it. Next thing, I ran back and fucking got the next one, same thing, got him out and then got the next one back and out. And another 10 minutes and the Thames was beyond the 3 of them. So I went back to the pub. And strangely, I mean, they called the parents and strange, from Charlton, South London. They said, oh, we're busy, fucking playing in the mud again, and I was like, fuck, you know, parents, you know what I mean? Oh, we'll be over in a little while. So anyway, we looked after them, and next thing the fucking fire brigade turned up, and they'd been sent to the wrong location. Everyone was fucking buzzing. The kids went back home with the parents. A couple of the locals come in. I was still covered in mud, sitting at the bar, a bit fucked, a bit exhausted. The adrenaline was wearing off. Still had mud all over me and they were walking in going, oh, fucking hell, you're our hero, fucking hell. And they're grabbing, scraping mud off me and wiping it over themselves. Bright yellow fucking Moody Ralph clothes and fucking all, you know what I mean? So they took me around every pub around the area. The Oak, the Gun, the fucking Standard, the Jimmy Dean's, the Railway. And they're parading me around as this fucking local hero. And I got back and I was properly exhausted. And I remember just sitting at the bar thinking I'm going to go up and get in that fucking shower in a minute, pour myself a drink. I just had this moment where I thought, I've got a trial coming up with me brothers. I said, I wonder if this is a sign, like a test where I save 3 brothers so that God will save us 3 brothers. Listen in to each episode as I engage you in my personal journey of how a boy growing up on a council estate in Essex would eventually own the most exclusive online private members club in the world.